you everyone for taking the time to join us today. I would say this morning, but I think for a lot of you it's this afternoon. So I just wanted to do a quick recap of a couple days that we did in Bahrain. I think it was a very successful couple of days. When we came up with the idea, we thought it would be good to bring some folks together to put forward the economic plan that we've been working on, put it forward, get some feedback on it, and then from there be able to move forward. We were overwhelmed by the response that we got. Every country that we invited showed up, and we had a very, very big crowd. We got a lot of very senior business leaders from all throughout the world, all the great companies. And what we saw from this, we even actually at the end had to turn people away because a lot of people were trying to get in last minute. And what we saw from this was that there is a lot of interest in the world in helping the Palestinian people, and that the constant theme we heard from speakers was that the plan is very technical, very credible, ambitious, it's achievable, but it can't be implemented without a peace deal, and it can't be implemented without good governance, because without good governance, people will not want to invest in the area. But if there is a situation where these issues can be resolved, then there is a big desire from the international community to try to come in and help out. So the technical feedback, the plan now has been downloaded over 1 million times, which is well beyond our expectations, which means that we've really gotten people looking at this and thinking about it. We've had very little technical criticism of the plan. I think everyone thinks it's a well thought out plan. It's comprehensive. It definitely draws on some work that's been done in the past, but it also had a lot of new ideas in it as well. So it's really something that we put together, trying to come up with the best way to move forward. And I think that we've been actually surprised at how little technical criticism we've gotten. We think that it's been widely praised as a very serious approach and a very comprehensive effort to try and do it. I think we've definitely started a discussion in the Arab world about the Palestinians' future and the capabilities of the current leadership to help them achieve that future. I think a lot of the Palestinians are starting to see maybe that it's really not the Israelis who are responsible for their problems and their lack of opportunity. A lot of it is their leadership. And what we're trying to do through this effort by putting forward an economic vision and then by putting forward a political proposal for a political solution is to give their leadership the opportunity to engage in something that can help them resolve these issues and start their people being on a path towards living better lives. And I think that we've outlined a very thoughtful, detailed work product that a lot of people have given high praise to. Another thing that we saw from this conference is that over the last 2 years, we have made a lot of progress in terms of the Middle East accepting Israel as a reality and as a real country. We believe this trend will continue. There will be a point in the future where there will be normalization with Israel and the rest of the Arab world. And when that happens, it will lead to a much more stable and safer Middle East. And there'll be a lot more economic potential and opportunity for all people in the region. We believe that again the discussion that we've started is a very, very healthy one. I think a lot of people have been surprised at how this has been a different discussion. We tried to bring in different points of view and different people and a different way of looking at this problem. A lot of the people who have been involved in this for a long time, who have failed, have criticized this for not being done in the traditional way, but the traditional approach to this has not worked. But we have a very strong opinion that we believe that if you're not outlining what a future can look like and how it can be a prosperous and exciting one, then the opportunity to ever bridge the gap on the political issues is significantly diminished. So we believe that by leading with the economic plan and by trying to get this finalized, it gives us the opportunity to help people in the region come together and see what the future can look like if there is a political solution. So we believe that it provides the proper context and framing through which people ultimately will view the potential solutions that we're going to propose on the political issue, and hopefully it leads to, again, progress on an issue that quite frankly has been stuck in the mud for so long. We've tried to bring, new thinking to a problem that has not had a lot of new thinking, and a lot of people have been very pleased and excited by the efforts we've made to try and do that. And so that's really where we are. I'm happy to take some questions, but overall we were very, very pleased with the way that the Bahrain conference went off. We had a lot of speakers coming who I didn't know what they would say, but the fact that there was such a consistent theme about the fact that the plan is a good plan, it's a thoughtful plan, it's an achievable plan, but you need to have the right environment and the right governance in order to achieve it, was basically the theme that came out throughout the entire time. And I'll say just the other thing from our point of view is that when you put out, I find in politics people are usually afraid to put out details because you get criticized in details. We did the opposite. We obviously have confidence in our work. We peer reviewed it extensively. We had a real effort to try to do it thoughtfully and meticulously. And the fact that we put out 140 pages of a very detailed proposal, the most detailed economic proposal that's ever been put out on this topic, and the fact that there's been, I'd say, almost no technical criticism of what we've done, we've gotten some constructive suggestions, is very reassuring that we've done the right work product and that it's headed in a good direction. With regards to the Palestinian leadership, I'll just say this, that, obviously I think they made a strategic mistake by not engaging on this. I think that they looked very foolish by trying to fight against this. They're saying, well, you can't have this without the political issues. We've been very explicit from the beginning that this conference is not about the political issues. The political issues we'll get to at the right time, and that we were laying out a vision for what could be if we're able to resolve the political issues. And so, what we've been doing is we put out a vision of hope and prosperity for the Palestinian people, and quite frankly, the Palestinian leadership. I'm not quite sure what they're selling to the people, but their argument against it has not been one that we found to be substantive or even comprehensible. So it's been more hysterical and erratic and not terribly constructive. So again, we believe that the goal of leadership should be to figure out how to keep their people safe and to give their people opportunity for prosperity. And we have not seen the Palestinian leadership take any constructive steps towards trying to find ways for their communities to be safer or for their people to be more prosperous. And so, again, the president was very clear that he would like to see a solution to this issue. He cares about the Palestinian people. He'd like to see this issue that's been stuck for too long be resolved, and he's going to work hard to try and bring a solution to it. But again, the Palestinian leadership at some point will have to step up, and they have to show that they want to see their people live better lives, and we look forward to seeing what will happen. So let's open up to some questions.
Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen on the phone lines, to place yourselves in queue, please press star followed by 1 at this time. Once again, for your questions, you may queue up by pressing star followed by 1. And please allow just a few moments as questioners queue up.
And for alternative, Mustafa Zaru of El Arabiya, who asked, has any pledging been scheduled to fire up the Palestinian economy? If not, when are we likely to see it happening?
So again, the whole notion on this is that we put together a plan, and this plan happens in the event there is a peace plan, a peace deal. So again, this is not about let's go ahead and start investing money in this area. People have tried that for a long time, and unfortunately, either you have conflict that breaks out in Gaza, and then a lot of infrastructure and investment that's made gets destroyed, and the progress gets disrupted. So this is a big plan that we don't want to start until there's an actual peace understanding in a way that we believe is fair and long-term viable. And again, if you want to ever have a deal that's viable, there has to be economic opportunity associated with it, because otherwise people won't have an exciting future to look forward to. And I think that if they see this deal happen, they see a peace deal happens and their lives aren't getting better, I don't think that it will be a sustainable peace. So we see this as a critical component to any peace deal. With regards to pledging, I think a lot of the countries who attended are countries that care about the Palestinian people. A lot of the big donors to the Palestinians right now give money. There's not a lot of accountability, and there's not a lot of transparency, and there's not a lot of results to what comes from the money that they're giving, and a lot of them are very, very frustrated. But nobody's really ever offered an alternative pathway to invest that money. What we've done is created an alternative, and that's stimulated a lot of great discussion. We continue to speak to a lot of the big donors to the Palestinians, and we'll continue to talk with them about the fact that we think this is a much more long-term viable pathway for them to utilize their investment in the Palestinian people to create a better growth, sustainability, opportunity, and a situation that we believe can actually become very helpful and very exciting. You know, one thing that I thought was interesting was we had a couple of representatives there from African countries, and they said, well, if the Palestinian leadership isn't interested in this, please come to our countries, because we would love to get this attention and this focus from the business community, from America, and from the international community. So I thought that was something that was quite funny, and actually makes a lot of sense. So I think that we're continuing to have discussions with them, and we'll make some more announcements at a future time. Next question.
All right, our next question is from Alan Dargam of MTV Lebanon.
Yes. Mr. Kushnar, thanks for this opportunity. I would like to ask you, do Palestinian refugees in Lebanon have the right to return to their home? Or the U.S. is looking to encourage host countries to naturalize Palestinian refugees in return for compensation?
Right. So again, we're going to address that when we get to the political aspects of the plan. But again, that deals more